Naomi rushed to the hospitals and doctors revealed she just lost her unborn baby because Jade Cargill attacked her as revenge for what she did to her at the parking lot. Let's analyze what happened to Naomi and give your thoughts, and to forget to subscribe, like and share so not to miss the latest updates. Ladies and gentlemen, Wrestling Zone 1 family, what happened to Naomi in the past 48 hours is nothing short of horrific, and I'm warning you right now, this story will shake you to your core. We're talking about a situation so devastating, so heartbreaking, that it's left the entire wrestling community questioning how far is too far when personal vendettas spill into real life. Just days ago, Naomi was rushed to the hospital in what eyewitnesses described as the most frantic, panic-stricken scene anyone had ever witnessed backstage. The ambulance sirens, the chaos, the sheer terror in everyone's eyes, it was like watching a nightmare unfold in real time. But what the doctors revealed when she arrived at the emergency room has left everyone absolutely speechless. Question for viewers: have you ever witnessed a moment that completely changed your perspective on wrestling? Drop your experiences below. Naomi had lost her unborn baby. Let that sink in for a moment. We're talking about the loss of a precious life, a future that was ripped away in the most tragic circumstances imaginable. The medical team worked frantically, but sometimes, even the most skilled professionals can't reverse the damage that's already been done. The grief, the devastation, the sheer emptiness that Naomi must be feeling right now, it's beyond anything any human being should have to endure. But here's where this story takes a turn that will make your stomach churn with absolute rage. This wasn't just some tragic accident or medical complication. Oh no, this was the direct result of one of the most vicious, most calculated attacks we've ever seen in wrestling history. And the perpetrator? None other than Jade Cargill. Question for viewers: what's the most shocking wrestling moment that left you questioning the boundaries of entertainment? Let us know your thoughts. Now, before we dive deeper into this absolute nightmare, we need to understand the backstory that led to this unforgivable act of revenge. It all started in that infamous parking lot incident that had everyone talking for weeks. Naomi, in what many considered a moment of pure desperation and poor judgment, had confronted Jade Cargill in the most aggressive way possible. The parking lot altercation wasn't just your typical wrestler confrontation, it was brutal, it was personal, and it left Jade Cargill not just physically hurt, but emotionally scarred and seeking the kind of revenge that would haunt nightmares. The footage from that parking lot incident showed Naomi at her absolute worst. She was relentless, she was merciless, and she crossed lines that should never be crossed, even in the world of professional wrestling. Jade Cargill was left battered, humiliated, and burning with the kind of rage that consumes everything in its path. But nobody, and I mean nobody, could have predicted the level of retaliation that was brewing in Jade's mind. Question for viewers: do you think there are certain lines that should never be crossed in wrestling feuds, even for storyline purposes? Share your boundaries below. What makes this entire situation so much more infuriating is the calculated nature of Jade Cargill's revenge. This wasn't a heat-of-the-moment reaction. This wasn't an accidental escalation during a match. This was a carefully planned, methodically executed attack designed to cause maximum damage not just to Naomi's body, but to her soul, her future, her very essence as a human being. The attack itself was so vicious, so targeted, that medical professionals are calling it one of the most dangerous assaults they've ever treated in a wrestling-related incident. Jade Cargill knew exactly what she was doing. Every strike, every move, every moment of that attack was designed with surgical precision to cause the kind of damage that would destroy Naomi from the inside out. And the most disgusting part? Jade Cargill has shown absolutely zero remorse for what she's done. Sources backstage report that when she heard about Naomi's tragic loss, her only response was a cold, calculated smile. Can you imagine? A woman loses her unborn child, and the person responsible for that loss actually smiles when she hears the news. Question for viewers: how do you think the wrestling industry should handle situations where personal vendettas go too far? What consequences should there be? The wrestling community is absolutely divided on this situation. Some people are saying that Naomi brought this on herself with that parking lot incident. They are arguing that when you cross certain lines, you have to be prepared for the consequences, no matter how severe. But others are rightfully pointing out that nothing, absolutely nothing, justifies causing the loss of an innocent life. We're talking about a baby here, people, an unborn child who had nothing to do with the feud between these two women, who never asked to be part of this nightmare, who will never get the chance to take their first breath because of someone else's quest for revenge. How is that ever acceptable? How does anyone justify that level of cruelty? The medical reports are painting an even more devastating picture of what Naomi endured. The trauma to her body was so severe that doctors are saying she's lucky to be alive. The internal injuries, the psychological damage, the emotional trauma, it's going to take years for her to recover, if she ever fully recovers at all. And that's not even addressing the grief and guilt she must be carrying from losing her baby. Question 4 viewers, what support do you think wrestlers should have access to when personal feuds escalate beyond professional boundaries? Sound off in the comments. What's even more maddening is the response from wrestling management and officials. Instead of immediately suspending Jade Cargill and launching a full investigation, we're hearing reports of people trying to sweep this under the rug, trying to spin it as just another wrestling storyline gone wrong. Are you kidding me? A woman loses her baby, and people want to treat it like entertainment? The legal implications of this situation are staggering. We're not just talking about wrestling disciplinary action anymore, we're talking about potential criminal charges, civil lawsuits, and the kind of legal consequences that could destroy careers and lives forever. Jade Cargill might think she got her revenge, but the price she's going to pay for this act of pure evil is going to haunt her for the rest of her life. And let's talk about the precedent this sets for the wrestling industry. If this kind of behavior goes unpunished, if there are no serious consequences for crossing these unforgivable lines, then what's to stop other wrestlers from taking their feuds to similarly dangerous extremes? Are we going to wait until someone actually dies before we take action? Question 4 viewers, do you think this incident will change how wrestling storylines are written and executed in the future? What changes would you want to see? The fan reaction to this tragedy has been overwhelming. Social media is flooded with messages of support for Naomi and absolute condemnation for Jade Cargill's actions. Hashtags calling for justice are trending worldwide, and wrestling fans are demanding immediate action from promotion officials. The outpouring of love for Naomi during this impossible time shows just how much the wrestling community cares about its performers as human beings, not just entertainers. But support and prayers, while meaningful, aren't enough to undo the damage that's been done. Naomi's life has been forever changed by this act of revenge. The baby she'll never hold, the future that's been stolen from her, the trauma that will follow her for years to come, these are consequences that no amount of fan support can erase. The psychological impact on other wrestlers is also something that can't be ignored. How are performers supposed to feel safe when they know that personal feuds can escalate to this level of violence? How are they supposed to trust that their colleagues won't cross these unthinkable lines when seeking revenge? The entire foundation of professional wrestling, the trust between performers, the understanding that everyone's safety comes first, has been shattered by Jade Cargill's actions. Question 4 viewers, how do you think this tragedy will affect other wrestling storylines and performer relationships moving forward? Share your predictions. What makes this situation even more heartbreaking is knowing that Naomi was genuinely excited about becoming a mother. Sources close to her had revealed that she was planning to take time off from wrestling to focus on her pregnancy and prepare for motherhood. She had been talking about baby names, planning the nursery, and looking forward to the day when she could hold her child for the first time. All of those dreams, all of those plans, all of that joy and anticipation, gone in an instant because of someone else's desire for revenge. The medical team treating Naomi has described her condition as stable but critical, not just physically but emotionally. The grief counselors, the trauma specialists, the entire support system that's been put in place, it's a stark reminder of just how devastating this attack really was. We're not just talking about wrestling injuries here, we're talking about life-altering trauma that will require years of healing. And through all of this, Jade Cargill continues to show no remorse, no humanity, no recognition of the magnitude of what she's done. Her cold indifference to Naomi's suffering is perhaps the most chilling aspect of this entire nightmare. How does someone become so consumed with revenge that they lose all sense of basic human decency? The wrestling world is watching, waiting, and demanding justice for Naomi and her lost child. This isn't just about wrestling anymore, this is about right and wrong, about human decency, about the fundamental question of how far is too far when seeking revenge. Wrestling Zone 1 family, what happened to Naomi is a tragedy that should never happen to anyone, anywhere, for any reason. The loss of an innocent life, the devastation of a mother's dreams, the crossing of every line that should never be crossed, this is a dark chapter in wrestling history that we'll never forget. Final question for viewers, what do you think needs to happen next to ensure justice for Naomi and prevent tragedies like this in the future? Your voice matters, let it be heard in the comments below. Remember to like this video if you want to see justice served, subscribe to Wrestling Zone 1 for continued coverage of this developing story, and hit that notification bell because we'll be following every update until this situation is resolved. Naomi deserves justice, and we won't stop fighting until she gets it. Stay strong, Wrestling Zone 1 family. We'll get through this together.